What food secrets keep a 95-year-old thriving while others slow down? Welcome to Elder Secrets, where age becomes a guide, not a limit. Today, we uncover the hidden wisdom behind what and how the oldest among us eat. Are these timeless choices the missing link in your diet? Stick around. The answers might surprise you.
Imagine someone who has lived through nearly a century of profound change. I mean, think about it, from horse-drawn plows to, well, self-driving tractors now.
Right.
From ice boxes to smart refrigerators. Someone who has seen countless food trends come and go, all those fad diets rise and fall. Yet they remain remarkably vibrant, sharp, physically capable well into their 90s. It's a really compelling image, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
It leads us straight to the central question we're really diving into today. What are their food secrets? What wisdom can we, maybe particularly those of us navigating modern life, maybe looking towards our own golden years, what can we glean from these extraordinary individuals?
Yeah, what's the blueprint there?
Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take a stack of incredible sources, try to distill their essence, and present it in a way that helps you, our listener, become truly well-informed. Today, our mission is to unpack the timeless wisdom of individuals who haven't just survived, but have really thrived well into their 90s and even beyond.
Right. Thriving, not just surviving. That's key.
And our particular focus is on farmers. Their lives are just so intrinsically connected to the land, its seasons, the very food it provides.
They have such a unique perspective.
They really do. An invaluable perspective, having witnessed maybe the most dramatic shifts in food production and consumption in, well, all of human history, probably.
That's a fair point, yeah.
We've gathered some really compelling real-life accounts. From Norman, who's a remarkable 95 and a half with just an astonishing memory.
Incredible.
To Owen Lee Webb, a 95-year-old veteran and still an active farmer.
Still working.
And Laura Spath's grandfather, who, at 92, is just a beacon of strength.
We're also drawing from some comprehensive guides on, how to eat like a 95-year-old farmer, distilling their collective wisdom for you.
And what really stands out here, what makes this deep dive, I think, so different is that this isn't about, shelling out for expensive superfoods or the latest complicated diet you see online.
No quick fixes here. No, exactly. And it's not about some inaccessible, rural-only lifestyle either. It's really about reclaiming time-tested fundamental principles, things that have sustained human health for generation.
Back to basics, in a way.
In the best way. We're talking about moving beyond just surviving into old age and instead really embracing a blueprint for truly thriving with vitality, with purpose, deep well-being. And you'll find, I think, that their secrets go way beyond just what's on the plate. It's much more holistic.
Okay, let's unpack this then with some of these truly incredible real-life stories. These are people who just embody this longevity, offering us this rare window into a bygone era and the resilience it fostered. First, let's travel back in time a bit and meet Norman. His journey gives us this fascinating, almost cinematic glimpse into nearly a century of change. Norman, born 1919, so he's an astounding 95 and a half years old.
Wow.
And what's truly remarkable is his incredible memory and, just as impressive, his health. His recall of details from the 1920s and 30s is just, well, it's breathtaking.
It really is. The clarity is amazing.
His early life, back in the 1920s, featured what he describes as a pretty good variety of food. But a really key insight from this period is that food was always prepared at home. Always.
Homemade.
He speaks with such warmth about the smell of the food cooking in the kitchen. He said it was central, this warm, inviting aroma that just permeated everything, fostered a powerful sense of home.
You can almost smell it just hearing him talk about it.
Right. Meals often included simple staples like oatmeal. But here's a telling detail. Because fresh milk was expensive, maybe not readily available, they'd often use carnation evaporated milk.
Oh, yeah. Canned milk?
Diluted with water and a spoonful of sugar.
Yeah.
And he emphasized this wasn't a health choice like we might think today. It was purely cost-saving, just the economic reality of the time.
Practicality ruled.
Exactly. His mother was apparently adept at making hearty casseroles, like macaroni and cheese, baked in a big cast-iron coal stove. And that stove did double duty. It was the main heat source for the entire home, too.
Wow. Multi-purpose.
And the kitchen itself, it wasn't just for cooking. It was literally the gathering place for everything, for meals, homework, conversations, just filled with countless good memories that you can tell still resonate with him today.
It's crucial, though, I think, to understand the context of what was absent in their lives compared to, our modern conveniences. Norman vividly remembers they had ice boxes, not refrigerators like we know them.
Right, completely different technology.
Yeah, these were often like beautifully crafted wooden cabinets where you'd put a huge block of ice to cool the food.
Delivered by the Iceman, presumably?
Probably, yeah. And he noted that nothing much was left over because, in his words, all the prepared food would be used up at the mealtime.
No leftovers culture, then.
Not really. It speaks volumes about a completely different relationship with food storage and consumption. This focus on immediate, fresh preparation for every single meal, and just an intuitive, ingrained habit of minimal waste. You simply had to adhere to it.
Then, as we move into the 1930s, came that seismic shift, the Great Depression. Food scarcity became, well, not just a concern, but a stark, everyday reality for so many.
A defining experience.
Norman recounts that they literally didn't have anything to put in it, referring to the icebox, because everything we ate that meal. Just no leftovers to keep cool.
Wow. Hand to mouth, almost.
Pretty much. People, including his family, were driven to selling cherished possessions just to buy food or pay the rent. He remembers selling their icebox, which was, functional and probably a bit of a luxury item,
Yeah.
for $5, which he emphasized was an awful lot of money back then. It just shows its value and, frankly, the desperation of their situation.
$5 was huge then.
Food was incredibly simple, often just bread. They rarely made bread at home, he said, opting instead to buy yesterday's bread from the bakery.
Ah, the day-old rack. Smart.
Because they could get 2 or 3 loaves for 10 cents compared to 10 cents for one fresh loaf. Lunch would frequently be just a slice of bread with apple butter and a glass of water milk was just an unaffordable luxury.
Simple sustenance.
His mother rationed food with meticulous care, and there was absolutely no concept of snacking as we know it. The only snack they might ever get was a saved bread crust from a special drawer. That was it.
That era really highlights a profound community reliance too, doesn't it? That almost forgotten sense of mutual aid.
Absolutely. Norman shared this deeply touching anecdote about his brother borrowing 50 cents from a neighbor, just for supper.
Just to eat that night.
Yeah. And they would diligently repay it on Friday when his brother got paid, only to, re-borrow it the following week just to make ends meet.
Wow. That cyclical trust, that community support system.
Yeah.
It was vital for survival then.
Totally. And to give you a sense of what 50 cents could actually buy in those days, he said it could get you 3 loaves of bread for 10 cents, 3 pounds of navy beans for another 10 cents, and potatoes for a mere 3 cents a pound.
Incredible value, but shows how basic their staples were. It really illustrates the foundational value placed on those basic foods and just the stark reality of how far really meager funds had to stretch.
And here's where it gets really illuminating and honestly quite shocking when you think about it today. Norman recounts this truly stark detail from the Depression era. The government, in an effort to stabilize prices, actually paid farmers to destroy vast piles of potatoes.
Destroy food while people were hungry.
Yes, spraying them with kerosene to make them inedible. This was done to prevent prices from plummeting below the cost of the seed needed to plant them.
That's hard to comprehend now.
Can you imagine? Piles and piles of good, edible food, deliberately destroyed, rendered useless, while millions were struggling, literally starving in some cases.
It's such a painful contrast to our modern struggles with, food waste on one hand and food insecurity on the other. We throw away so much, yet people still go hungry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of tragedy, maybe. Their staple foods back then, bread, potatoes, beans, were crucially always prepared at home. He did mention they didn't have a garden in his earliest days because the soil was poor, mostly gravel and sand.
Right.
But he learned the importance of soil prep and actually started gardening much later in life, about 50 to 55 years ago, something he still does.
And if we connect this to the broader picture, public health, dietary shifts, Norman's reflections on health and food changes over time offer incredible insight. He notes the major illnesses back then were mostly heart attacks and cancer.
The big killers then.
Yeah. Diabetes existed, he says, but there was considerably lighter public knowledge or understanding about it compared to today. His own father died tragically young, at 45, from a heart attack.
So young.
Norman recalls his father was a heavy eater of fatty pork due to his Danish descent, and he later understood that his father's arteries were, quote, clogged with cholesterol.
A concept they barely understood then.
Exactly. Cholesterol wasn't widely known or understood at the time, yet it was the silent killer for many. It stands in such stark contrast to today's extensive medical knowledge about cardiovascular health, the role of dietary fats, preventive measures. It really highlights an era of maybe intuitive eating, sometimes to its detriment, before the science caught up.
Norman's personal turning point, though, a really pivotal moment in his own health journey, came at the relatively young age of 35. He experienced alarming chest pains.
Scary at that age.
Definitely. His doctor advised him to significantly cut down on fatty foods and those heavy gravies. And this, I think, is a testament to his character and wisdom. He believed the doctor, and he took the advice.
He listened. That's key.
He did. He still enjoys some fatty foods today, he admits, but nothing to the extent that I did at that time. This personal experience of adapting his diet based on medical advice and his own body signals, rather than, say, rigid dogma, is really telling for his sustained longevity. He found a balance that worked for him.
Yeah, self-awareness.
When he reflects on the advent of preservatives, packaged foods, fast food, Norman states quite simply, there was none of that in his early life.
Yeah.
Packaged food, like macaroni in a box, only started appearing much later post-World War II.
The beginning of convenience food?
His first reaction to frozen or fast food was that it just felt unusual. He said he always instinctively wanted fresh cooked food. But he observed that people, driven by convenience and the changing pace of life, gradually accepted it because, well, it offered a way to save time.
The trade-off begins.
His wife, who he lovingly calls Grandma, remained remarkably committed to fresh homemade meals. She rarely used frozen food, maybe once in 3 weeks if she was really rushed.
Wow, that's dedication.
For 65 years of marriage, she consistently made fresh meals every day. A salad lettuce, onions, tomato, dressing a small amount of protein, a normal serving of potatoes, and crucially, at least one green vegetable on the plate. Every day.
That consistency is powerful.
And even today, when Norman occasionally indulges in fast food, he still gravitates towards diners for breakfast. Prefers eggs, fried potatoes, and sausage or bacon. Well done, cooked, as he says, to the point where it breaks like a cracker to ensure most of the grease is gone from it.
Still applying his own intuitive fat reduction, even with fast food. That deeply illustrates a consistent, lifelong commitment to fresh, homemade meals as the fundamental cornerstone of their diet, even as that tidal wave of modern conveniences started rolling in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the societal shift, from those small, specialized mom-and-pop stores to the big, all-encompassing supermarkets, that also reflects a broader evolution in food access and consumer behavior.
Totally different shopping experience.
Norman remembers in the early days, separate baker shops, independent butchers, local groceries where produce was just out in bushel baskets. When supermarkets started popping up, people quite naturally drifted to that because everything was conveniently all in one place and, crucially, a little cheaper.
Price and time. The drivers.
Even then, yeah, they were rapidly becoming increasingly important factors in food choices. And that's a trend, as we know, that has only intensified dramatically today, shaping our entire food landscape.
And speaking of saving time and money, Norman's grandma was apparently a true master of resourcefulness, particularly with stockpiling and using coupons.
Ah, the coupon queen.
Seems like it. This practice started about 10 years into their marriage, late 1950s, when they made that significant investment in a freezer chest.
A big deal back then, getting a freezer.
Huge. She would frequent bakery outlets, shrewdly buying half-priced day-old bread in bulk and stocking up, a common practice for many families then, driven by pure economic prudence.
Making every penny count.
She also enthusiastically collected green stamps, which he called a popular gimmick back then. For every dollar spent at participating stores, you'd get these little stamps to paste into special books.
Oh, I remember those. My parents had books of them.
Right. And you could then exchange the filled books for various household articles.
It's absolutely fascinating to observe how those early loyalty programs like green stamps, which Norman notes people were crazy about saving, directly mirror our modern supermarket loyalty cards, digital coupons, rebate apps.
The psychology is the same.
Totally. The underlying human psychology around value and reward hasn't changed a bit, just the technology delivering it. Norman also shares this beautiful insight into his grandma's profound generosity, though.
Whoa.
He reveals that half of it was for that reason, meaning her extensive stockpiling wasn't just for their own use. She was deliberately buying things specifically to give away to others in need. A quiet, consistent act of charity.
That's wonderful. Practicality mixed with generosity.
Exactly. And after her passing, it took Norman and his family an entire year to empty the basement freezer.
A whole year. Good grief.
He, quite astonishingly, said they wouldn't even have to go shopping for some items for a full year. They also became incredibly efficient at freezing their garden produce, like lima beans. They'd shell them, blanch them, freeze them in small packages to enjoy right through the winter, extending that harvest.
Smart. Using everything.
Hmm.
Okay, let's shift to our next incredible example of longevity. Owen Lee Webb. Born October 21st, 1926. So Owen Lee is 95 years old.
Another amazing story.
He's not only a veteran, served his country, but he remains an incredibly active farmer, still working hard now in the field. When they interviewed him, he was literally planting seeds on the tractor, harvesting, doing whatever's on the to-do list for the day.
At 95, that's just mind-blowing.
He started farming as a child, learned the ropes early on, bought his own land after returning from World War II, and he feels incredibly fortunate, deeply blessed, that his family has chosen to hold on to his legacy, passing the farm down through his children and grandchildren.
That continuity is important to him.
Very. He notes it's significant because many family farms, sadly, are sold off when younger generations pursue other careers.
Owen Lee credits his enduring drive, his determination, and his remarkable physical and mental vigor to what he simply calls willpower, I guess.
Just willpower, huh?
He states emphatically, "I just don't like to sit around." This reveals, I think, a profound truth about his active lifestyle. It's not a chore, it's not a prescribed exercise regimen, it's just an intrinsic part of his identity, his happiness.
It's who he is.
Exactly. He firmly believes that this farm life, this constant engagement with physical labor and the land, is directly responsible for his 95 years of prosperity and good health. He even mentioned he was previously in the grocery business, but quickly realized it wasn't for him. He chose to get back to the country, back to the land.
And he has absolutely no intention of slowing down now. Emphasizes how integral his work, his physical activity are to his overall sense of well-being, purpose, and, his continued health.
That purpose piece seems huge.
Definitely. And finally, we have the inspiring story of Laura Spath's grandfather. He's 92, almost 93. And Laura describes him simply as the strongest person that I know.
High praise.
He grew up in a small dairy farm, a world away from today's industrial agriculture. Milking 10 cows by hand, farming with horses. This meant, as he put it, a very low overhead, relying on what they could cultivate themselves.
Self-sufficiency.
His primary food source was what they produced right there on the farm. He perfectly encapsulated it, saying they ate almost everything that we grew or grew almost everything that we ate.
Wow. Complete connection to their food.
Big garden, milked their own cows, butchered their own hogs and beef. He vividly recalls going to the store maybe once every 6 weeks. That's it?
Once every 6 weeks. That's a powerful testament to their near-complete self-sufficiency and that profound connection they had to their food sources.
Their breakfast, he recalls, was a big meal, really designed to fuel a day of intense labor. It often consisted of homemade wheat meal, ground fresh through something called a Crawford grinder, almost like a mush or porridge, I suppose.
Yeah, like a whole grain cereal.
And his mother baked fresh bread daily. This direct connection to the source of their food, grinding their own grains, preparing everything from scratch, it meant a vastly different nutritional profile from what many people consume today.
He raises a truly critical point, too, about the profound changes in grains over time. He observes that genetic engineering has altered corn to resist insects, which he personally believes is harmful to gut bacteria.
Interesting perspective.
And he also feels that modern wheat isn't the same either, attributing these changes to a concern more about production than quality, alongside that widespread increase in synthetic fertilizers and insecticides. He really laments the loss of integrity in these foundational foods.
They were meticulous about preserving their harvest, too, canning hundreds of half-gallons of food for their family of 5, ensuring they had sustenance through the lean months.
Essential skill back then.
And he highlighted a striking difference in childhood then versus now. Children were inherently useful, indeed necessary, to sustain their family.
A very different role than today.
Completely. Contrast sharply with modern childhood, where kids often don't have such direct, essential roles in family sustenance, maybe impacting their sense of contribution and responsibility. Their technology and community were also vastly different, emphasizing how much social structures have changed.
Oh, yeah.
They had one party line telephone, which meant an operator connected calls, and she, of course, knew everyone's business.
The original social network.
Right. Up to 10 people could even listen in on a single line. He joked quite insightfully that this was their social media back then. They had no electricity, no radio, and yet, he said, We didn't feel like we were hard up. Speaks to a deeper contentment, maybe, with simpler realities.
After he married, 68 years ago, they bought a Lee flour mill, a testament to their ongoing commitment to self-sufficiency. Incredibly, they still have it and still use it for grinding cornmeal and flour today.
Still using it. Amazing.
They continued to milk cows and made their own cheese, including what he affectionately called squeaky cheese because it was eaten so quickly it didn't have a chance to age properly.
Fresh cheese curds, maybe? Sounds delicious.
Probably. His farmhouse, where he's lived for an astonishing 57 years, is heated primarily with a wood stove, and he still chops wood for it. While he does have a propane backup, he proudly states he hasn't needed to use it.
Self-reliance personified.
And what's truly remarkable about Laura's grandfather, and really a consistent theme with these individuals, is his exceptional health. He claims his only health problems have been farming accidents, like a tree falling on him or a tractor bucket incident, not the chronic illnesses that plague so many modern seniors.
That's incredible. Just accidents, not disease. So what are his health secrets then? The principles that have guided this extraordinary vitality?
Well, he believes quite profoundly that what you eat really is a lot of who you are.
Food is foundational.
He has consciously avoided sugar a good bit for 35 years, treating desserts as something only for special occasions, though he admits, with a laugh apparently, that with all the birthdays in a large family, those special occasions tend to come around maybe more often than he might strictly prefer.
Relatable.
He's also been incredibly disciplined about not snacking, a habit we'll definitely explore further as a core principle across the board.
His active lifestyle is, without a doubt, a massive component of his health too, right?
Oh, absolutely huge. He describes farm labor and the exercise that you do every day, not as a chore, but as something inherently therapeutic.
Therapeutic. Interesting word choice.
Building fences, making hay, cutting wood. These weren't gym workouts. They were just the everyday rhythms of his life, keeping him constantly moving, constantly engaged. He speaks of having extra energy until he was 75, even jumping over fences in his 70s because it was quicker than opening the latch.
Jumping fences at 70.
It's not a formalized exercise routine. It's this integrated, holistic approach to physical activity, just woven into the very fabric of his existence. It's a powerful lesson, I think, in making movement an indispensable part of your day, not some optional add-on.
He also, quite intuitively it seems, stumbled upon what we now call intermittent fasting. For 35 years, he consistently weighed around 200 pounds. About 4 years ago, he just decided to skip supper for an entire year.
Just skip dinner for a year. Wow.
Yeah, an experiment that led him to drop down to the 170s. Remarkably, he now maintains that weight even while eating 3 meals a day again.
Interesting. His body adapted.
Seems so. He strongly emphasizes the importance of maintaining muscle mass, which he credits with keeping him active and independent. He advocates for enjoying walking and consciously not grieving over the fact that you can't run, focusing instead on what is still possible and enjoyable.
Great attitude. And here's where it gets really fascinating, especially for someone well into their 90s. He takes no regular medications and has consistently good blood pressure. His doctors are simply shocked by it.
Doctors are shocked. That says something.
It really does. It raises an important question for all of us. What societal changes, particularly in diet and lifestyle, have led to such different health outcomes for today's seniors compared to these individuals? His perspective on attitude and community is equally profound, maybe even more foundational.
Yeah. What was he saying?
He says, one of the healthiest things is not to be so preoccupied with yourself, but notice the people around you. He offers this stark yet compelling contrast between city living, where a neighbor can be perceived as a threat due to competition for space,
Interesting take.
versus country living, where a neighbor is universally an asset, a vital part of your support network. He firmly believes city dwellers are inherently lonely, despite the population density, underscoring that qualitative difference in community connection.
He also highlights the profound importance of forgiveness, stating experiencing forgiveness and extending that to people is a big thing. He stresses that holding grudges hurts you, not the other person, and that forgiving others is ultimately for your sake.
Powerful, letting go for your own peace.
Exactly. He draws a spiritual connection too, noting that accepting God's undeserved love and extending it makes you free from past mistakes, so you don't carry that burden of resentment. This emotional and spiritual release is such a powerful, often overlooked component of well-being and longevity.
Absolutely. He keenly observes, too, that modern technology, ironically, can make us more lonely, as it connects us perhaps to people far away, but paradoxically makes us further away from the people close to us.
That hits home, doesn't it?
It does. His perspective on aging is equally insightful and inspiring. He quips, with a knowing smile apparently, that old is always 15 years older than you are.
Huh. I like that. A moving target.
Right. A humorous way of saying age is often a mindset. He emphasizes being profoundly thankful for what you can do, rather than dwelling or grieving over what you can't. He shares this beautiful anecdote about his grandmother, who in her later years started noticing the beauty of trees she hadn't truly seen when she was younger and too busy.
The value of slowing down, perspective.
Precisely. It illustrates the value of appreciating things often missed in the rush. He pinpoints inactivity as the biggest danger for kids and old people, noting that just sitting on the couch is bad, and that technology significantly contributes to this sedentary lifestyle. For him, daily exercise isn't an option, it's part of my job, just seamlessly integrated.
Finally, Laura's grandfather touches on the radical and, in his view, pretty troubling changes in the modern food industry. He said he would have laughed at the very idea of people selling bottled water back then,
Yeah.
compared it humorously to charging for breathing.
Can you imagine selling water?
He also laments how agricultural land is increasingly becoming part of the financial system, with wealthy investors like Bill Gates buying up vast tracts of farmland, forcing young farmers to compete against powerful financial entities.
Yeah, that's a huge issue.
He points out a dramatic shift in profit margins, too.
Okay.
The price a farmer receives for a bushel of wheat is apparently the same now as it was 50 years ago, yet a loaf of bread today is 6 times more expensive.
Where's the money going?
The significant profit, he highlights, is now primarily in processed foods, while the individual farmer has nothing to say about his price for beef or hogs. He sees corn syrup in everything you buy in the grocery store, added, he argues, to compensate for flavor lost in processing. And he provocatively calls sugar a drug.
Strong words. Sugar as a drug.
He also points out the difficulty small farmers face selling local meat due to restrictive regulations, often forcing them to ship animals off to distant processing plants. Though he notes some innovative farmers are trying to work around this, like having people jointly own a cow.
Getting creative to bypass the system.
And he concludes by observing there's now a premium for beef without growth hormones or antibiotics, as these increasingly affect both animal and human health.
These deeply personal stories, they're just incredibly compelling, aren't they? Showcasing a lifetime of practical wisdom, adaptation.
Absolutely. Real lived experience.
But what's truly fascinating here, if we kind of zoom out to the bigger picture, is that the core principles of their eating habits aren't just unique anecdotes from Norman or Laura's grandfather. Our comprehensive sources, these various farmers' guides to longevity, they reveal a consistent, almost universal, time-tested approach to nutrition.
A common thread running through them all.
Exactly. These aren't fleeting fads or trendy diets. These are practices that have resonated across generations and, remarkably, are now even being validated by modern science. It's like their intuitive wisdom sort of preceded our scientific discovery.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
So let's now dive into these foundational principles, extracting the essence of what it really means to eat like someone who truly thrives into their 90s.
Okay, here's where it gets really practical and insightful, I think. The first foundational principle is just so simple yet profound. Understanding real food.
Back to basics.
Totally. The core, unwavering idea is to eat real food ingredients. Your great-grandmother would not only recognize, but probably would have grown or prepared herself. Think about it. Foods that genuinely grow from the earth, or walk, swim, or hang from trees.
Things that are alive, essentially.
Right. Our farmers grew up in a world where food processing was minimal, maybe non-existent for much of their youth. Meals were inherently made from scratch. Call back to Norman's vivid memories of his mother making those casseroles in a coal stove. There were no drive-thrus, no freezer aisles packed with ready meals, and certainly no complex ingredient lists with, unpronounceable chemicals.
This approach inherently prioritizes nutritional density. Whole foods, just by their very nature, provide a complete package of nutrients, not just isolated vitamins, but these synergistic combinations of fiber, minerals, antioxidants, beneficial plant compounds, all working together in harmony exactly as nature intended.
The whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Precisely. Consider the powerful example of a whole apple versus apple juice. The whole apple gives you fiber that slows sugar absorption, a complex array of nutrients, while the juice is often just a concentrated dose of sugar with most of the good stuff stripped away.
Yeah, you lose so much.
And this principle extends to consuming whole grains rather than refined flour, fresh, vibrant vegetables instead of sodium-laden canned versions, and meat from animals that lived natural lives, not from factory farms pumped with antibiotics and hormones.
Right. Laura's grandfather's deep concern over the genetic modification of corn and wheat speaks directly to this principle, doesn't it? He recognized that qualitative degradation when the focus shifted from nutrient integrity to just sheer production volume.
He saw the quality decline. And the science behind this, it's unequivocally clear now. Extensive research consistently shows that people eating predominantly whole, unprocessed foods have significantly lower rates of the chronic diseases that plague modern society: heart disease, type 2 diabetes, various cancers, cognitive decline.
The big ones we worry about today.
Exactly. They tend to maintain healthier weights, experience more stable energy levels throughout the day, and quite simply, live longer, healthier lives. This aligns perfectly with Norman's sustained health and Laura's grandfather's remarkable lack of chronic illness, despite the physical demands of their lives.
It makes sense intuitively, too.
It does. Whole foods are naturally more satiating, meaning they keep you feeling full longer, which naturally helps reduce overeating. They also require more energy for your body to digest, subtly boosting your metabolism. And the fiber they contain slows sugar absorption, preventing those erratic blood sugar spikes and crashes.
Avoid the roller coaster.
It's about a fundamental trust in the ingredients themselves. So for you, the listener, especially as you maybe consider your own well-being into your later years, what truly stands out about how simply, yet powerfully, these individuals approached food? How might you identify and choose foods that your own great-grandparents would instantly recognize as, well, nourishing? Our second principle gets into the rhythm of eating: meal timing and structure. This speaks to a predictable, almost ritualistic approach to meals, coupled with minimal snacking.
A when as much as the what.
Exactly. For our farmers, their days started early, and so did their nourishment. They consumed a substantial breakfast, often including eggs, hearty garden vegetables, maybe homemade bread or whole grain oatmeal. This protein-rich meal, consumed after that overnight fast, was critically important.
Fueling up for the day.
Right. It helped stabilize blood sugar levels for the demanding day ahead and provided essential building blocks for muscle mass, which is particularly crucial for maintaining strength and mobility as we age. The timing of this breakfast was key, preparing the body for physical labor.
And
Lunch was traditionally the largest meal of the day, specifically designed to provide ample fuel for that intense afternoon work. It was substantial, packed with protein, generous servings of vegetables, complex carbohydrates. Dinner, conversely, was the smallest meal, and crucially, eaten early, typically around sunset.
eating with the sun.
Kinda, yeah. This allowed ample time for digestion before sleep, a practice that aligns beautifully with our natural circadian rhythms.
And what's fascinating looking back at their stories is the almost complete absence of constant snacking.
Right. It wasn't necessarily out of strict discipline, but maybe a natural consequence of properly constructed, incredibly satiating meals.
If you're full, you don't need to snack.
Exactly. When your meals are nutrient-dense and balanced with protein, healthy fats, complex carbs, you simply don't experience those frequent hunger pangs and blood sugar roller coasters that drive so much of our modern snacking habits. Norman's vivid memory of only eating bread crusts as a snack during the Depression, it just starkly highlights how different this approach is from our culture of constant grazing. It was about fueling the body purposefully, not perpetually stimulating it.
Modern science is increasingly validating this intuitive wisdom too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Through research on intermittent fasting and circadian biology.
Absolutely. Eating in alignment with our natural rhythms, giving our digestive system regular breaks, demonstrably supports metabolic health, facilitates healthy weight management, and is even linked to longevity pathways. This structured approach helps optimize our body's natural repair processes, like autophagy.
And it probably fosters a more mindful approach to eating too.
Definitely. Meals are treated as events, not just rushed interruptions. Sitting down, focusing on the food, chewing thoroughly, eating at a deliberate pace. It allows the body's natural satiety signals to register properly. This improves digestion, enhances satisfaction from the meal, and naturally prevents overeating. Leads to a much healthier relationship with food overall.
So for you, the listener, how might you establish a more regular eating rhythm? Could you maybe experiment with making lunch your largest meal, giving your body ample time to digest before evening? What benefits might you experience from a more structured approach to your daily nourishment?
Our third principle, really a cornerstone of their existence, is the garden connection. Seasonal and local eating.
Living by the seasons.
For our 95-year-old farmers, this wasn't some trendy dietary choice. It was simply a practical reality, an ingrained necessity that shaped their entire approach to nutrition. Think back to Norman eventually starting his garden later in life, and Laura's grandfather's lifelong commitment to farming, where, as he put it, they ate almost everything that we grew, or grew almost everything that we ate. Their pantry was literally their garden, their larder, the surrounding land.
This deep connection created a natural, inherent seasonal diet cycle, right?
Precisely. In the spring, after the long winter, they eagerly anticipated those first tender greens. Fresh lettuce, spinach, peas, asparagus. These early sprouts weren't just delicious. They provided essential vitamins and minerals, acting almost like a natural detoxifier and energizer for the body. Studies now show how certain spring greens can support liver function, cellular renewal.
The spring cleaning for the body.
Kind of. Summer brought that explosion of abundance. Sun-ripened fruits and vegetables like juicy tomatoes, crisp cucumbers, sweet berries. These foods, harvested at their peak ripeness, were just bursting with nutrition, high in antioxidants, rich in natural water content, perfectly suited for the warmer months.
Nature provides what you need when you need it.
Seems that way. Fall transitioned into preservation and hardier foods, root vegetables like potatoes and carrots, robust winter squashes, crisp apples, nutrient-dense nuts. These provided denser nutrition, essential caloric energy, warmth needed to prepare the body for winter. And winter itself relied heavily on stored foods, preserved meats, fermented vegetables like sauerkraut, dried legumes. These provided warming energy and sustaining nutrition, starkly different from our modern reliance on processed, imported foods that have traveled thousands of miles.
The advantages of this seasonal approach are incredibly clear and, as you said, increasingly scientifically backed. Foods eaten in season are just at their peak nutritional content. A tomato ripened on the vine in summer has far more vitamins and beneficial compounds than one picked green, shipped halfway across the world, and maybe artificially ripened.
No comparison, really.
And this inherent seasonal variety naturally ensures a diverse gut microbiome, which we know is crucial for overall health and immunity, and helps prevent nutrient deficiencies that can arise from eating the same few foods year-round.
The local aspect is equally profound, too. Foods grown in local soil conditions and climates are often better adapted to supporting the health of the people living there. Think of how local honey is often recommended for seasonal allergies, like a natural desensitization.
Right, tailored to the environment.
Local foods are harvested at their peak ripeness and freshness, and their natural availability often aligns with what our bodies need in that particular climate. Cooling foods in hot summer, warming, denser foods in cold winter. It's a natural wisdom that modern globalized food systems have largely obscured.
So for you, the listener, especially as you navigate the options available, maybe as a U.S. senior citizen, how can you consciously incorporate more seasonal and local foods into your diet, even if you don't have a garden? Consider visiting local farmers markets, checking if your community has a CSA community-supported agriculture program, or even just growing a few herbs in a window box to reestablish that direct connection.
Our fourth principle unveils the art of preservation: fermentation and traditional food preparation. Long before modern refrigeration, food preservation wasn't just a choice. It was a fundamental necessity for survival, ensuring sustenance through those leaner months.
Had to make the harvest last.
Exactly. But crucially, these methods, born of necessity, also bestowed immense nutritional benefits. Think of Norman's grandma meticulously freezing lima beans from the garden to enjoy all winter, or Laura's grandfather making his own squeaky cheese and canning hundreds of half-gallons of produce. These were sophisticated practices that extended life both of the food and, arguably, of the people consuming it.
Fermented foods, in particular, played a prominent and essential role, didn't they?
Oh, hugely. Vegetables like sauerkraut, kimchi, true fermented pickles, distinct from the vinegar-based ones, were regular features. So too were fermented dairy products like real yogurt and kefir, often made from the milk of their own grass-fed cows.
I think foods.
Right. These provided not only beneficial probiotics for gut health, but also protein and healthy fats. And the fermentation process itself broke down lactose, making them easier to digest for many. Even their bread was often made with a sourdough starter, a process that inherently breaks down gluten and phytic acid, increasing nutrient availability and making the bread far easier to digest than modern, rapidly leavened loaves.
So better for digestion and nutrient absorption.
Exactly. And the science behind this is now abundantly clear. Fermentation actively enhances nutritional value, like it increases vitamin C in fermented cabbage, and the beneficial bacteria introduced through these foods profoundly support gut health. which in turn influences immune function, nutrient absorption, even mental well-being.
Beyond fermentation, other ingenious preservation methods were commonplace too, right? Smoking, drying.
Yes, smoking meats, drying fruits and vegetables, salt curing, all techniques employed to extend shelf life and, in many cases, concentrate flavors and nutrients. The farmer's approach to food preparation was also driven by this profound respect for every ingredient, consistently maximizing nutrition and minimizing waste.
Nothing wasted.
Bones from meals became rich broths, simmering for hours to extract minerals, collagen, amino acids, forming the nourishing base for countless soups, stews, sauces. As you mentioned earlier, this stands in stark contrast to the staggering food waste in many modern households. Literally nothing was wasted. Every usable part of an animal or plant was utilized, reflecting this deep-seated ethos of resourcefulness.
Their cooking methods were typically gentle and slow too, you said. Stews, roasts.
Yes, favoring techniques like stews, roasts, braised dishes. These methods not only transformed tougher, less expensive cuts of meat into tender, flavorful meals, but also helped preserve the delicate nutrients within the ingredients, allowing flavors to develop deeply over time.
So more nutrition, more flavor.
While these traditional methods undeniably required more time and planning than modern convenience cooking, they yielded meals that were far more nutritious, deeply satisfying, and remarkably economical. For them, cooking wasn't a mere chore, it was an essential life skill, passed down through generations, embodying care and craftsmanship.
So for you, the listener, particularly those looking to maybe enhance the nutritional value of your meals without breaking the bank, have you considered trying to make your own bone broth, perhaps with a slow cooker? Or what simple traditional foods could you learn to ferment or preserve, even on a small scale, to bring these ancient benefits into your modern kitchen?
Moving on to our fifth powerful principle, protein wisdom, quality over quantity.
Getting the protein right.
Our 95-year-old farmers, long before macro tracking or complex nutritional calculations existed, possessed this intuitive understanding of protein's vital role. They didn't obsess over grams, but they consistently prioritized high-quality protein sources and ensured adequate amounts were present at every meal. Think back to Norman's discerning approach to bacon, wanting it well done so it breaks like a cracker, an intuitive way to reduce the fat content even though he only ate a small amount of protein overall.
Eggs were a cornerstone too, weren't they?
Absolutely, particularly from pasture-raised chickens that roamed freely, eating insects, seeds, plants. These eggs were nutritional powerhouses, all 9 essential amino acids, vital nutrients like choline, lutein for eye health, vitamin D. What's truly compelling is that these farmers never feared the cholesterol in eggs, a fear that later gripped modern society.
The great egg scare.
Right. Modern science has now largely validated their intuitive wisdom, showing that for most healthy individuals, dietary cholesterol has minimal impact on blood cholesterol levels and can even improve beneficial HDL cholesterol. When it came to meat, the emphasis was firmly on quality and variety, different animals, different parts, all from animals that lived natural lives.
So grass-fed beef, pasture-raised pork.
Exactly. Which translates to consuming beef higher in beneficial omega-3s and CLA-conjugated linoleic acid and pasture-raised pork, which tends to be leaner and have a better fatty acid profile.
And crucially, organ meats, like liver, were regular features in traditional diets. We don't eat much of those now.
Not nearly enough. They're incredibly nutrient-dense, packed with essential vitamins like vitamin A, B vitamins, crucial minerals like iron. They offer this concentrated dose of nutrition that's largely missing from the modern Western diet.
Fish, too, when available.
Yes, fish, when available from clean, local waters, provided essential omega-3s, EPA, and DHA, vital for brain health, reducing inflammation, supporting cardiovascular function. Legumes and beans also played a significant role, contributing substantial protein, especially when meat was scarce. And importantly, these were always prepared properly, typically soaking, slow cooking, to improve digestibility and nutrient absorption.
The timing of protein consumption was also naturally optimized, wasn't it, to spread throughout the day?
Yes, distributed evenly throughout the day across their structured meals, which is now understood to be far more effective for muscle protein synthesis and maintenance than consuming large amounts in just one sitting. This prevents that feast or famine approach that can lead to muscle loss over time, a critical consideration for maintaining strength and independence as we age.
And portion sizes were sensible, not excessive.
Right. Just enough to satisfy hunger, provide sustained energy, maintain muscle mass, echoing Norman's consistent practice of a small amount of protein at his meals. So for you, the listener, are you consciously getting enough high-quality protein distributed throughout your day? This seemingly simple adjustment can have profound effects on your energy levels, satiety, and muscle health.
Our sixth principle brings us to fat without fear, the essential role of healthy fats. Our farmers never experienced that whole low-fat craze that swept through modern nutrition.
No, that passed them by, thankfully, perhaps.
A dietary experiment that, in retrospect, often replaced natural fats with refined sugars and processed carbs. They consumed fats as humans had for millennia, and their remarkable health often reflects this intuitive wisdom. Norman, for instance, recalled initially eating a lot of fatty foods, but after his chest pains at 35, he prudently cut back significantly on heavy gravies and excessive fat.
He adapted.
Yet he continued to include natural, healthy fats in his diet without an overarching fear of them entirely. It was about balance and awareness, not elimination.
Butter, particularly from grass-fed cows, was a staple in their kitchens, wasn't it?
Yes, and this wasn't just about taste. It was recognized as a valuable nutrient source, rich in fat-soluble vitamins like K2, crucial for bone health, cardiovascular well-being, and beneficial compounds like CLA.
Animal fats like lard and tallow were also widely used for cooking. These fats are remarkably stable at high temperatures, don't oxidize easily, unlike many modern industrial seed oils. While demonized in the past, these natural fats are now largely being vindicated by science for their role in a balanced diet.
Nuts and seeds, too.
Absolutely. When available, they provided beneficial fats along with vital protein and fiber. Think walnuts for omega-3s, almonds for vitamin E, sunflower, pumpkin seeds for minerals, and fish, of course, from clean waters for those crucial omega-3s.
The farmer's approach to fats seems characterized by variety and moderation, incorporating a natural balance of saturated, monounsaturated, polyunsaturated fats, all derived from natural, unprocessed sources.
And what is remarkably absent from their dietary history are the industrial seed oils, soybean, corn, canola, sunflower oils, which simply didn't exist in their youth. These oils, ubiquitous now in processed foods, are highly processed, prone to oxidation, and increasingly linked to inflammation and chronic disease.
A key difference.
Huge. The importance of healthy fats cannot be overstated. They are absolutely required for the absorption of crucial fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. Without adequate fat in the diet, even if you eat plenty of vegetables, your body simply can't utilize these vitamins effectively.
You need fat to absorb them.
Right. Furthermore, fats contribute significantly to satiety and help maintain stable blood sugar levels. By slowing the absorption of carbohydrates, they prevent those sharp blood sugar spikes and subsequent crashes, which in turn reduces cravings and helps with weight management. This is a key reason why our farmers could go for hours between meals doing demanding physical labor without feeling hungry or experiencing energy dips.
So for you, the listener, are you confidently incorporating healthy natural fats into your diet, understanding their vital role in nutrient absorption, energy, satiety, and perhaps more importantly, are you actively avoiding those industrial seed oils that were completely absent from the diets of these healthy centenarians?
Principle number 7 centers on carbohydrates in context, complex and whole.
Not avoiding carbs, but choosing the right ones.
Precisely. Our farmers understood intuitively how to include carbohydrates in their diet without experiencing the negative health effects so often associated with them today. The key wasn't avoidance, but focusing intensely on the type of carbs consumed and how they were prepared.
Vegetables formed the very foundation of their carbohydrate intake, right? Not just a side dish.
Exactly. Not an afterthought, but substantial, prominent portions at every meal. Think of nutrient-dense root vegetables, potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots, beets providing complex carbs, fiber, vitamins, and of course, leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables delivering a wealth of essential micronutrients. Norman's commitment to always having at least one green vegetable on his plate is a fantastic illustration of this daily dedication.
And crucially, these vegetables were typically cooked in ways that enhanced both digestibility and nutrient availability.
Right. Roasting root vegetables with natural animal fats, for instance, not only developed deep, rich flavors, but also facilitated the absorption of those fat-soluble vitamins we just discussed. Sautéing leafy greens with garlic and onions made them more palatable and nutrient available.
When grains were consumed, they were always whole and properly prepared too.
Always. Soaked oats were common, improving digestibility. Sourdough bread, as we mentioned, was a staple, its long fermentation reducing problematic compounds like phytic acid that can interfere with mineral absorption. Even rice, if consumed, was a whole grain, often prepared with fat and protein to moderate its impact on blood sugar.
Fruits played an important yet specific seasonal role, didn't they?
Yeah.
Not an all-year-round free-for-all.
Exactly. They savored local fruits when they were in season: apples, pears, a bounty of berries, citrus when available, enjoyed in moderation as a natural part of a varied diet, not as a constant year-round sugary indulgence. What was profoundly absent from their carbohydrate consumption were those refined carbohydrates and added sugars.
The modern staple, sadly.
No sugary breakfast cereals, no ubiquitous white bread, no soft drinks, certainly no processed snacks loaded with hidden sugars. Sweet cravings were satisfied with the natural sweetness of fruits, maybe a touch of local honey, or an occasional homemade dessert enjoyed on special occasions. Laura's grandfather's stark view on sugar as a drug, and Norman's clear lack of a taste for excessive sugar, truly highlight this core dietary philosophy.
The timing of carbohydrate consumption also followed natural patterns you mentioned. Starchy earlier, lighter later.
Generally, yes. They typically consumed more starchy carbohydrates earlier in the day to provide sustained energy for their demanding physical labor. Lighter, more vegetable-based carbs were preferred in the evening, ensuring better digestion before sleep. The result of this discerning approach to carbs was remarkably steady energy levels throughout the day, without that debilitating blood sugar roller coaster many modern diets induce.
Combination with protein and fat made meals satisfying and sustaining.
Absolutely, allowing them to remain energetic and focused. So for you, the listener, especially thinking about maintaining stable energy and managing blood sugar as you age, are your primary carbohydrate sources truly nutrient-dense and unprocessed? And are you consciously minimizing those refined carbs and added sugars that were so absent from the diets of these vital centenarians?
Our eighth principle is remarkably simple, yet powerfully effective. Hydration and beverages. Pure and simple.
Keeping it simple?
The beverage choices of our 95-year-old farmers were incredibly straightforward, a stark contrast to the overwhelming, often unhealthy array of drinks we see on supermarket shelves today. Their primary foundational beverage was quite simply clean, pure water, typically sourced directly from a well or a natural spring on their land.
No fancy bottled water needed.
No, they had no need for, nor did they concern themselves with, expensive bottled varieties. They drank according to their thirst and their level of physical activity. Thinking back to Laura's grandfather, he would have laughed at the very notion of people selling water in bottles. It would have seemed utterly ludicrous.
Beyond pure water, other beverages were consumed with a clear purpose, weren't they?
Yes, coffee might have been part of a morning routine, but it was simple, often enjoyed with fresh cream or butter from their own cows, providing sustained energy without that rapid crash often associated with modern sugary coffee concoctions.
Herbal teas, too, from the garden.
Often, yeah. Brewed from plants grown in their own gardens, served both for hydration and for their medicinal properties, soothing chamomile, invigorating peppermint. Raw milk, fresh from grass-fed cows, was a common nourishing drink, providing protein, fats, a wealth of nutrients.
And for physical labor, maybe traditional electrolyte drinks.
Right. Simple and effective, like water with a pinch of natural salt and maybe a spoonful of honey, restoring essential minerals lost through sweat.
What's notably and powerfully absent from their beverage landscape are those ubiquitous soft drinks, highly caffeinated energy drinks, artificially flavored waters.
The modern minefield of beverages.
These modern drinks are just loaded with excessive sugar, artificial chemicals, offer virtually no nutritional value. When alcohol was consumed, it was typically in moderation, often local wine or beer, usually associated with social occasions or as part of a meal, rather than as a daily stress reliever or casual habit.
Norman mentioned his half glass of red wine before dinner, didn't he? Doctor recommended.
Right, demonstrating a mindful, intentional approach. Every drink served a distinct purpose: hydration, essential nutrition, aiding digestion, or as part of a social celebration. There were no empty calories or drinks consumed mindlessly. This purposeful approach unequivocally supported their overall health and vitality rather than undermining it.
It's a powerful lesson in conscious consumption. So for you, the listener, especially as you consider optimal hydration and maybe reducing hidden sugars, are your daily beverage choices truly supporting your health goals? Or are they inadvertently adding calories without offering real nourishment?
Our ninth and final principle regarding their food philosophy focuses on meal preparation and cooking methods.
How they actually cook the food.
For these farmers, cooking wasn't a mere chore. It was a deeply ingrained practice aimed at maximizing nutrition, minimizing waste, and fundamentally nourishing the body for the demanding work of their lives. Slow cooking methods dominated their kitchens. Hearty stews, succulent roasts, tender braised dishes were common fare.
Comfort food, but also nutritious.
Exactly. These techniques transformed tougher, less expensive cuts of meat into incredibly tender, flavorful meals while simultaneously extracting maximum nutrition from all ingredients, creating truly rich and satisfying dishes.
They instinctively understood the profound art of making bone broth, too, right? Simmering bones for
Oh,
hours.
yes, simmering bones for hours, even days, extracting that wealth of minerals, collagen, gelatin, a nutrient-dense base for countless meals. This liquid gold wasn't just flavor, it was a foundational element of their diet, supporting gut health, joint health, overall vitality.
Roasting was another preferred method.
Yes, often done in sturdy cast iron cookware. It developed complex, earthy flavors and helped maintain the nutrients within the ingredients. And as we discussed, fermentation was a regular integrated part of their routine, transforming vegetables into nutrient-packed sauerkraut, culturing dairy for beneficial bacteria, and enhanced digestibility.
Their kitchen techniques were meticulously designed to maximize use and minimize waste, truly living that nose-to-tail, root-to-stem ethos.
Absolutely. Vegetable scraps weren't just thrown away, they were composted back into the soil, fed to animals, or added to broths. Meat bones, as we know, became rich broths. Fat trimmings were rendered into valuable cooking fats like lard or tallow. As Norman mentioned, after his grandmother passed, it took that astonishing full year to empty the basement freezer, a testament to just how much they utilized and carefully stored every edible bit.
Season relied heavily on herbs from their own garden, garlic, onions.
Yes, fresh or dried herbs. Generous use of pungent garlic and onions for flavor and health benefits. Natural salt, like sea salt or mine salt with its trace minerals, was used judiciously for flavor, certainly, but also understood as beneficial for health, enhancing the natural tastes of their whole foods.
Though Norma did cut back on salt later for blood pressure.
Right, showing that adaptation again. Proper food safety, through these traditional preservation and cooking techniques, was also paramount, ensuring food was safe and wholesome. Meal planning wasn't about rigid weekly schedules, but followed natural rhythms and the availability of ingredients, what was seasonal, what needed to be used from the garden or larder.
More flexible, connected to the source.
While traditional meal prep undoubtedly required more time and planning than our modern, hurried approach, it was seen not as a chore, but as an essential life skill. A mindful, enjoyable process that yielded profoundly more nutritious, satisfying, and economical meals. So for you, the listener, what cooking skills could you maybe brush up on to maximize your food's potential and perhaps your own health and vitality?
So what does this all mean then, beyond just the food itself? We've explored these incredible details of their food choices, their habits from the Depression's scarcity to Grandma's ingenious stockpiling, Laura's grandfather's unyielding self-sufficiency.
Amazing story.
But these remarkable individuals also share these powerful insights that go far beyond what they put on their plate, revealing maybe a deeper, more holistic blueprint for a long, vibrant life.
This raises that important question. What other pillars, beyond just nutrition, support this remarkable longevity and profound vitality? It seems like a tapestry woven with lifestyle, mindset, connection.
Absolutely. The first of these powerful holistic secrets seems to be physical activity as a way of life.
Movement is medicine, right?
For farmers like Owen Lee Webb, 95 and still out in the field, or Laura's grandfather, early 90s, building fences, making hay, chopping wood. Physical work is exercise. It's not separate.
Not a trip to the gym.
No, it's not a prescribed routine or a workout they dread. It's seamlessly integrated into every single day. Laura's grandfather, profoundly, calls it therapeutic, not a job. He even recounts having extra energy until he was 75, still effortlessly jumping over fences because it was quicker than opening the latch.
Jumping fences at 75. It's about consistent, natural movement, deeply intertwined with purpose.
Even Norman, despite the significant challenges of his poor eyesight at 95, demonstrates this unyielding commitment to activity. He walks half a mile to a mile indoors daily and still consciously tries to walk outdoors, revealing that deep determination and a touch of stubbornness, as he puts it, to stay active.
Laura's grandfather's words resonate deeply here, too. He states unequivocally that inactivity is the biggest danger for kids and old people, directly observing how modern technology contributes to just sitting on the couch.
The danger of the sedentary life.
The profound wisdom here is the ability to adapt activity as you age, celebrating what can be done. He champions enjoying walking and consciously not grieving over the fact that you can't run, focusing instead on maintaining functional movement and purpose. For him, daily exercise isn't an option, it's intrinsically part of my job.
So for you, the listener, especially as you navigate options for staying active in your senior years, how can you integrate more natural movement into your daily routine? Maybe finding ways to make less about a workout and more about purposeful engagement, even with physical limitations.
Second, we discover the profound importance of mental sharpness and purpose. These individuals don't just live long, they live vibrantly with keen minds.
Staying sharp. How do they do it?
Norman's secret for his enduring mental sharpness is simply being very interested in everything. He actively engages in problem solving, even mentally building or repairing things in his mind to help him fall asleep.
Keeping the brain working.
He keeps his mind actively engaged through audiobooks, staying informed with the news, though he wisely avoids getting stuck in repetitive news cycles. He delights in discussions about what's out there besides the stars, demonstrating this enduring, expansive curiosity.
Staying mentally engaged, having a reason to get up each day, seems key to their longevity. Owen Lee Webb simply states, "I just don't like to sit around." He embodies a spirit that values change and progress.
Echoed by Norman still being out in his garden, active despite significant vision loss. For Laura's grandfather, purpose extends profoundly beyond himself. He volunteered after World War II, working with refugees, a selfless act of service.
Giving back.
He emphasizes focusing on the needs of the people around us, stating that one of the healthiest things is not to be so preoccupied with yourself, but notice the people around you. This outwardly focused perspective, a sense of contribution and community, offers a powerful antidote to self-absorption and isolation.
So, for you, the listener, what activities truly keep your mind engaged and stimulated? And perhaps most importantly, how can you find purpose in helping others, in looking beyond your own immediate concerns?
The third and perhaps most profound holistic secret is centered on attitude, community, and emotional well-being.
The mindset piece.
Norman's message is truly powerful, a guiding philosophy for navigating life's inevitable challenges. Keep your attitude positive. There'll be setbacks, hardships. Do the best you can. Move on. Keep going forward. He wisely advises against giving up, emphasizing progress, however incremental. If you move a quarter of an inch forward, just keep going forward.
That resilient, forward-looking mindset. It's a powerful buffer against despair, a catalyst for continued engagement with life.
Social connection emerges as absolutely vital, too. Norman thrives on people passing through his home or receiving phone calls, noting quite poignantly that a day without contact kind of drags a little bit.
That simple observation underscores the profound human need for connection.
Laura's grandfather provides that powerful contrast between urban and rural living, describing city life where neighbors can be perceived as a threat due to competition for space, versus country living where a neighbor is universally an asset, a source of support and mutual aid. He firmly believes loneliness is far higher in cities despite population density, highlighting that qualitative difference in genuine community connection versus mere proximity.
And that truly profound, almost spiritual insight from Laura's grandfather on forgiveness. Experiencing forgiveness and extending that to people is a big thing.
Letting go of grudges.
He stresses with deep wisdom that holding grudges hurts you, not the person you resent, and that you forgive for your sake to free yourself. He connects it to accepting God's undeserved love and extending that grace to others, which makes you free from past mistakes so you don't carry that burden of bitterness and resentment.
That emotional release, that profound act of letting go, is such a powerful and often overlooked component of sustained well-being and inner peace.
These individuals also embody a powerful spirit of appreciation and gratitude. Laura's grandfather advises not grieving what you can't do, but instead being profoundly thankful for what you can. He shares that beautiful, reflective anecdote about his grandmother, who, in her later years, started truly noticing the beauty of trees she hadn't genuinely seen when she was younger and too busy.
Illustrates the deep value of slowing down, gaining perspective, appreciating the simple, overlooked wonders around us. Norman, despite admitting to feeling the deep loss of your grandmother, still states, "Most of the time, I do feel pretty good." And despite acknowledging others have worse problems but still get upset, he consistently advises against giving up.
This resilient, grateful, community-oriented mindset clearly provides a robust foundation for navigating the challenges of aging. So for you, the listener, how do you actively cultivate a positive outlook amidst life's challenges? And how do you maintain and nurture those meaningful connections, whether with family, friends, or your wider community? Hashtag adapting ancient wisdom to modern life. Now, you might be thinking, and rightly so, okay, that's wonderful for a farmer living a century ago, maybe, but how does this actually apply to my life today, particularly as a U.S. senior citizen navigating a vastly different world?
That's the key question, isn't it? And what's truly fascinating here is that the core principles are remarkably universal. We can absolutely adapt this timeless wisdom, even if we don't live on a farm or have a sprawling garden. It's fundamentally about mindset and making intentional, conscious choices that proactively support your health, vitality, and independence into your golden years.
Bringing the spirit of the farmer into modern life.
Exactly. It's about doing just that. So here are some incredibly practical steps, specifically thinking about U.S. senior citizens, to start integrating this wisdom right now. First, and most fundamentally, start with real food. When you head to the grocery store, make a conscious effort to shop the perimeter first. That's typically where you'll find the fresh vegetables, fruits, unprocessed meats, dairy.
Stick to the edges.
Choose minimally processed ingredients as much as possible. And when you do pick up something packaged, make a habit of reading the labels, look for short, recognizable ingredient lists. If you can't pronounce an ingredient, well, it's probably not what your great-grandmother would have recognized as food. It's about building that foundation of nourishment from true, whole sources.
Second, create eating structure. Even if your daily schedule isn't as rigid as a farmer's, try to establish regular, consistent meal times. This minimizes that constant snacking, which, as we learned, can lead to blood sugar imbalances and fatigue.
Get off the grazing train.
Right. Consider experimenting with making lunch your largest meal of the day. This provides ample time for digestion and energy utilization before the evening, aligning more with your body's natural metabolic rhythm and potentially supporting better sleep.
Third, embrace seasonal and local foods as much as practically possible. Visit your local farmers markets. They're not just for young folks. Many even offer discounts or special programs for seniors, or maybe community transportation.
Check out what's available locally.
Consider joining a community-supported agriculture CSA program if one is available nearby. It's a great way to get a weekly box of fresh, seasonal produce delivered or for pickup. Even growing a few simple herbs in a window box or a single tomato plant in a container on your patio can reconnect you to your food source. And if fresh isn't available, choose frozen vegetables and fruits over canned ones. They're often frozen at peak ripeness and retain more nutrients.
Fourth, learn or brush up on basic food preparation skills. You don't need to become a gourmet chef overnight, but developing or refreshing your ability to prepare simple, nutritious meals from whole ingredients is incredibly empowering.
Get comfortable in the kitchen again, maybe.
Focus on fundamental techniques like roasting vegetables to bring out their natural sweetness, properly cooking whole grains for better digestibility, preparing lean, high-quality proteins. There are tons of easy-to-follow online tutorials or local cooking classes designed for all skill levels, including seniors, that can make this enjoyable.
Fifth, prioritize quality protein at every meal. This doesn't mean eating huge portions, but consciously ensuring each meal contains adequate, high-quality protein from sources like eggs, lean meats, fish, or properly prepared beans and legumes.
Keep that muscle mass strong.
Exactly. Distributing protein throughout the day helps with blood sugar stability, keeps you feeling fuller longer, and crucially supports the maintenance of muscle mass, absolutely vital for strength, mobility, and preventing falls as we age.
Sixth, don't fear healthy fats. Actively include natural fats into your diet, like avocado, nuts, seeds, olive oil, butter from grass-fed cows. These fats are critical not just for flavor and satiety, but they also aid in the absorption of those fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, K.
The good fats are your friends.
The important distinction here is to avoid those industrial seed oils like soybean, corn, canola oils, which are highly processed and were completely absent from the diets of our thriving centenarians. Read labels for those too.
Seventh, choose complex carbohydrates. Focus your carbohydrate intake on abundant, nutrient-dense vegetables, especially root vegetables, and properly prepared whole grains. Minimize or eliminate refined carbohydrates and added sugars found in so many processed foods.
Veggies first.
Satisfy any sweet cravings with natural fruits, maybe a small amount of local honey, or an occasional homemade dessert, rather than those processed sugary treats.
Eighth, hydrate simply. Water should unequivocally be your primary beverage. Enjoy your coffee or tea, but without excessive added sugar artificial sweeteners, or those chemical-laden creamers. Remember Laura's grandfather's amusement at bottled water. Your tap water, if clean and filtered, is often the most accessible and best choice for consistent, pure hydration.
Ninth, practice mindful eating. Turn off the television, put away your phone, make a conscious effort to eat at a table, truly focusing on your meal.
Slow down and taste the food.
Take a moment to appreciate your food, its source, its preparation. Eat slowly, allowing your body ample time to register satiety signals. This can significantly improve digestion, enhance your enjoyment of the meal, and prevent overeating.
10th, focus on nourishment over mere calorie counting or restrictive diets. Choose nutrient-dense foods that provide a broad spectrum of vitamins, minerals, beneficial compounds, rather than empty calories that offer little more than transient energy. Every bite should ideally contribute to your overall well-being and vitality.
And finally, and perhaps most importantly, be patient and gradual. These farmers cultivated their incredibly healthy habits over decades, not days or weeks. Don't aim for perfection overnight. That often leads to burnout. Small, consistent changes are far more sustainable and lead to lasting results.
Like Norman wisely advises, move a quarter of an inch forward, just keep going forward.
Exactly. What small, actionable change can you make starting with your very next meal or your next trip to the grocery store? Even tiny shifts can begin a powerful ripple effect towards greater health. #tag the science behind the wisdom.
It's truly remarkable, isn't it, how so much of this traditional wisdom, accumulated over generations through sheer necessity and observation, is now being meticulously validated and illuminated by the bright light of modern science.
Yeah, it's like their intuitive approach built this roadmap that we're only now fully understanding with scientific tools.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the latest research consistently confirms the profound health benefits of these practices, moving them from just anecdotal evidence to scientifically proven strategies for longevity and vitality.
Absolutely. Consider, for instance, the extensive Blue Zones research. These are specific populations around the world where people commonly live to 100 years and beyond, often with minimal chronic disease.
Like Okinawa, Sardinia.
Exactly. They consistently exhibit eating patterns that strikingly mirror our farmers' approach. Predominantly whole, plant-rich foods, strong social connections and community meals, regular natural physical activity, and stable eating patterns passed down through generations.
The widely acclaimed Mediterranean diet, often lauded as one of the healthiest dietary patterns, also emphasizes many of these same core principles, doesn't it?
It really does. A focus on whole foods, abundant healthy fats from sources like olive oil and nuts, moderate protein, regular consistent portions, its consistent benefits for cardiovascular health, cognitive function, overall longevity align perfectly with the intuitive wisdom of our farmers.
Research into intermittent fasting directly supports the farmer's natural pattern of structured meals, with periods of fasting in between too.
Yes, that approach, as Laura's grandfather experienced intuitively, has been shown to improve metabolic health, support healthy weight management, enhance cellular repair processes like autophagy, where the body cleans out damaged cells, and may even promote longevity by improving insulin sensitivity and reducing inflammation.
Studies on fermented foods increasingly reveal their profound benefits for gut health, a cornerstone of overall well-being, influencing everything from immune function to mental health.
And the practice of seasonal eating and dietary variety inherent to farming life is now scientifically understood to lead to better overall nutrition and a more diverse and resilient gut microbiome, crucial for nutrient absorption and disease prevention.
Even the simple act of mindful eating, just sitting down and truly savoring your food, is proven to improve digestion, reduce overeating by allowing satiety signals to register, and significantly increase meal satisfaction.
Furthermore, research consistently links processed foods to poor health outcomes, increased rates of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, while whole, minimally processed foods consistently support better health, energy, and vitality. And finally, studies unequivocally show that spreading protein intake across meals throughout the day is far more effective for maintaining and building muscle mass than consuming large amounts in a single sitting, precisely as our farmers did through their structured meal rhythms.
So these aren't just quaint old tales. They are scientifically sound, evidence-backed approaches to cultivating exceptional health and a long, vibrant life. #outro. As we wrap up this deep dive then, it's abundantly clear that the secrets to a long, vibrant, and independent life, particularly when it comes to food, are remarkably simple and profoundly rooted in common sense. It's not about chasing the latest fad or obsessing over complex metrics.
What's truly fascinating here, I think, is that it's not just about a specific diet. It's a holistic approach to nourishment that transcends just the physical. It integrates mental well-being, deep social connection, a sense of purpose, and a profound appreciation for the very source of our food.
A complete integrated blueprint.
For not just surviving, but truly thriving, long into your golden years.
So to summarize the key takeaways for you, our listener, the wisdom of the 95-year-old farmer offers these guiding principles. Eat real food with recognizable whole ingredients. Follow a structured eating rhythm, minimizing constant snacking to allow your body to digest and reset.
All right.
Embrace seasonal and local foods where possible, connecting to nature's cycles.
Get back in tune.
Value traditional preparation methods, including fermentation for enhanced nutrition and digestibility.
Yes.
Prioritize quality protein and healthy natural fats for sustained energy and satiety.
Crucial.
Choose complex carbohydrates from vegetables and whole grains over refined sugars.
Fuel wisely.
Keep hydration pure and simple, making water your primary beverage.
Simple is best.
Engage in physical activity as a way of life, finding joyful movement integrated into your daily routine.
Keep moving.
Keep your mind active and engaged, fostering curiosity and problem solving.
Stay sharp.
Cultivate a positive attitude and nurture strong community connections.
Connection matters.
And crucially, practice forgiveness and gratitude, releasing emotional burdens and appreciating life's gifts.
Let it go.
This path isn't about restriction. It's really about abundance, variety, satisfaction, and the deep nourishment that comes from eating in harmony with your body's needs and nature's rhythms. It's about more than just adding years to your life. It's about adding life to your years, ensuring that your later decades are filled with vitality, independence, and deep enjoyment.
This raises, I think, an important question for you to ponder. In a world constantly chasing the new, the complex, the technologically advanced, are we ready to rediscover the profound joy, the quiet resilience, and the enduring vitality that comes from truly nourishing ourselves with the timeless wisdom of those who have thrived for nearly a century?
The wisdom is there, quietly waiting for you to embrace it. The transformation it can bring is entirely in your hands, starting with your very next meal. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.